this is Chris the Nightmare Ariola, and you're watching Mission Boxing Today on YouTube.
Heavyweight boxing fans, what's the deal? All right, man. So I see this in my comment section a lot. A lot of fans when they get to talking about the three title holders at the heavyweight division. For some reason, a lot of fans, man, unless you're a Joseph Parker fan, but collectively, it seems like a lot of fans believe that Parker is the weaker of the three title holders. And it's like by far vote for Parker too. And I don't know, man. I'm not sure I necessarily see it like that because when I look at the title holders and I really break them down, I mean, even from their age to their height to their reach and their weight, to the fighters they fought, how they looked in those fights, some of their weaknesses, what are their strengths. I don't necessarily see Parker as the weakest of the three. And to me, 2017 is going to be a big year, man, because a lot of questions are going to be answered. You know what I mean? A lot of questions are going to be answered. Joshua's fighting Klitschko. Parker, his team, they're talking about fighting Jarrell Miller or Hughie Fury, possibly David Price. Wilder, I'm not sure what they're going to do yet. I know he's fighting Marijic next, but after that, I'm not really sure exactly what they're going to do. I've heard him talk about possibly fighting Parker if he wins his fight or whoever has that WBO belt. So I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen, but a lot of questions will be answered because I think he will. I believe that he will try to unify, or he's going to have to fight. I don't know, Povetkin or Stavern. I guess we'll figure out tomorrow what's going to happen with Povetkin and his B sample and what's going to go on with that. But then you got Luis Ortiz rated number 3 at the WBC. That could be a possibility. I know that the WBA ordered the winner out of Joshua Klitschko to fight Ortiz for that WBA title. But anyways, though, when I look at these three title holders, man, okay, you look at Wilder. He's 6'7". What is Wilder, about 228 pounds, something like that, 83-inch reach. He's going in his 9th year as a pro. He's 37-0 with the 36 knockouts. He'll be 32 years old at the end of the year. His notable wins, in my opinion, Stavern, Molina, Duhaupas, and Spilka. The Malik Scott fight, I'm going to stay consistent from the day I made my post-fight video. I thought that shit was fishy. That looked as fishy as, let me see, Tyson versus Selden. It was like in that category, in my opinion. If you thought it was the cleanest knockout you ever seen in your life and it hit his tempo and all that, I've been over this a million times. That's fine. That's your opinion. I have mine. This shit looked that looked as fishy as my guy Mike Tyson when he the night he fought Selden. Not so much Selden and Tyson and Wilder's fought. Just the fact that I just thought the guys they were in there with on fight night just didn't want to fight, and they're looking for a way out. That's my opinion. All right. But even in those wins, though, and then even some of the guys that Wilder fought that were like on that journeyman level, title contender type of guys, like the Ariola, Liakovic, who did, hold a strap. Ollie Harrison, who Olympian. He looked well in those fights. Parker has had those similar type of fights with an old Franz Botha and a Solomon Haumanu and Bowie Tapuo. Anthony Joshua, he had his guy like that, like a Kevin Johnson type. So Joshua, to me, out of the three of these guys, pretty much has controlled all his fights. As far as winning pretty much damn near every round. Possibly you can give White a round or two maybe in that. I can't remember the fight exactly, but pretty much in all of AJ's fights, he controls shit. The action in every fight. You know what I mean? He's only been pro for 4 years. A lot of questions will be answered when he steps up for fights. Klitschko, his best wins: Cornish, White, Molina, Brazil, and Martin. Now when Martin got in the ring, he didn't perform the way we thought he was going to perform as far as just the effort. The effort just didn't look like it was there. You know what I mean? But before that fight, a lot of people, including myself, and if a lot of people thought it was going to be a blowout, a 1 or 2 round blowout. But a lot of fans think that Joshua fights are going to be 1-2 round blowouts. You know what I mean? And they end up going shit. The White and the Brazil fight went 7 rounds. But he seemed like he's controlled all the rounds in all his fights for the most part. Parker, the Takam and the Ruiz Jr. fight, he lost some rounds in those fights. He definitely lost some rounds in those fights, but he wasn't hurt. He wasn't wobbled. He wasn't separated from his senses in any of those fights to me. Although he did lose some rounds, but he wasn't necessarily getting beat up in those fights, But close competitive fights, and he got him on the scorecards. A lot of fans I conversed with believe that it was due to because he was fighting at home. A lot of people have different opinions about it, but then you look at Deontay Wilder. Spilka, actually, I had Spilka winning that fight going into the night. Wilder has the equalizer, the right hand, and he took care of business. Now, the judges disagreed with me. They had Wilder up comfortably in that fight. I didn't see it like that, but Wilder did knock him out. And when you have that in your arsenal, the scorecards don't mean anything. You know what I mean? I thought the Kelvin Price fight, he should get more credit for that one. There were two. I believe Price was undefeated when he fought Wilder, but I remember that fight. That was a good fight to see where Wilder was at, in my opinion. The Molina fight, he was hurt in that fight. He was rocked and hurt in that fight, like hurt. I thought he would when he got hit with that left hook. He was hurt. But he didn't go down. He stayed upright and he ended up finishing Molina. The Stavern fight was the fight that I still think to this date that's his best fight because that's the fight that he surprised me. A lot of people were like, "What do you?" Because I think I made a video titled Wilder proved me wrong or some shit. And people are like, how did he prove you wrong? And it's like, well, I didn't think he had a back foot game, man. You go watch that Jason Gavin fight and go watch some of his other fights. I thought that was absent from his game, was a back foot game. He was able to use his jab. I didn't think he could utilize his jab like that. I was surprised, man. I'm sorry, man. I know some of you aren't really big on Wilder, but he surprised me, man. Go watch his previous fights up until the Stavern fight. And to me, I was surprised. I didn't think he can fight off the back foot like that. I didn't think he can pivot and turn and throw the check left hook. I didn't see it. I thought he was just a straight come forward guy. And if he went backwards, he was going to fall apart. Stavern was putting on the pressure as far as putting up the high guard and trying to walk him down. But he didn't necessarily put the pressure on as far as letting his hands go, putting on pressure. He was putting on pressure with more of his just determined attitude and his feet. Just, I'm going to walk you down and walk through everything you got. But nothing, he wasn't really walking him down with throwing his hands, though. You know what I mean? Even Duhaupas kind of went to that, where he put up the high guard and was going to walk Wilder down and take his best shots. Didn't let his hands go enough, but when Duhaupas did open up, he was busting Wilder's face up. So, I don't know, man. I'm not sure that it's necessarily Joseph Parker. One day I feel it's Wilder. Some days I feel it's AJ, but for the most part, I never feel it's Parker. I don't know, man. Maybe I've, I don't know. I just don't see how Parker to some fans is just the by far weakest link. Joshua, sometimes I question his fluidity. Sometimes he can seem very stiff and upright. The Molina fight, he looked a little bit more loose, a little bit more fluid, but he really didn't have much coming back at him to really see how elusive he is when there's an all-out assault and attack laid on him. You know what I mean? But he does a great job of sullying that because he keeps a jab in that right hand. You got to respect him, man. You know what I mean? It's going to be interesting to see when somebody gets in there that doesn't respect him, how is he going to react? Or are they going to get knocked the fuck out trying, not respecting him? But I don't know, man. Parker, his balance, I think he's very fluid as a fighter. His combinations, his transitions from offense to defense, I like it. He's patient. Seems to have a solid chin. Seems to have a good jab. Not the longest reach in the world, but he seems to have a damn good solid jab. Wilder, like I said, man, his back foot game surprised me. A good jab. Carries his hands really low, man. And I'm curious to see how Wilder. I'm curious to see some of these fights, man. These, like a Wilder versus Parker or Wilder versus AJ or Ortiz. I'm curious to see how some of these fights are going to go, because some of the things he was able to get away with, Wilder, in some of his other fights, I don't think he'll be able to get away with all those things when he steps up. Like I'm trying to imagine him versus AJ, and if he was to fight with his hands low like that, and with Joshua being he likes to punch. He got good variations with his combinations. He can throw straight punches, hooks, and uppercuts. He's a quick puncher. Keeps his guards up. What if he starts to parry Wilder's jab with his jab and right hand? What if he starts knocking his head back? Because shit, man, I thought Spilka did a good job of fighting Wilder from range. Although he's a southpaw, he fights out of a different style than Joshua, but and then Parker, how would Wilder deal with Parker throwing fast combinations at him? And Parker's solid, man. People look at him like he's this little guy or something. Like, yeah, he isn't as tall as Wilder, and he doesn't have the physique of Joshua, but this kid is 6'4". He came in at 246 pounds in his last fight. I mean, this is a solidly built kid, man. Look at his legs. Look at his shoulders. Like, he's, he weighs more than Wilder by about 20 pounds probably. So, but he did bulk up, or he did put on some weight for the Ruiz fight. I thought he was putting it on just to be able to be ready for Ruiz in his come forward, aggressive, physical type of style. But yeah, man, Parker is a solid 240 pounds. He's not little, so I don't know, man. Some people feel as if Wilder can keep a guy like Parker off with his jab and make him respect that right hand. Then we got to look at Wilder's right hand. How comfortable will he be throwing his right hand? A lot of his fans believe that, it's no problem. He's going to throw it, effortlessly, and everything's going to be good. Possibly, but your third surgery on your right hand, man. I mean, there's, has to be some type of question marks there, whether you're a Wilder fan or not, man. I mean, let's just be logical. I mean, if this was fucking Joshua, I'd be saying the same thing. If it was Parker, I'll be saying the same thing. He's going to be wearing this orthopedic Everlast glove. I believe it's either the Power Lock or Pro Lock. I forget the name of it, but it's one of those two that he will be wearing for this fight. I actually did a video on it. I just can't remember exactly the name of the glove, but that was months ago, so I'm curious to see if they're still going to go that route, or if they're just going to wear their normal style glove. Curious to see if he's going to be tentative throwing his right hand, because that was always his showstopper, was the right hand. If anything else fails, he has the right hand. Now that seems a little bit damaged a little bit. I know he went through the surgery, and his doctor says it's going to be 110%. He's going to be stronger, yada, yada. Okay, cool, but mentally that can mess with you a little bit. I don't care who you are. You're coming off an injury. I mean, look at basketball, like Derrick Rose, right? One of the most explosive point guards I've ever seen play the position as far as being explosive. And when he came back, it was a mental thing. I watched him play summer league ball. His head was damn near by the rim, so you knew that it was his knees and everything were cool as far as his jumping ability. But what about the little things like the cutting and the pivoting and sharp turns and shit like that? Same thing with Wilder in his hand. The straight one punch might be there, but what about when he tries to turn his hand and do an uppercut or a right hook or just other type of punches, or when he has to put them together in combination form, so I guess we'll see, man. But who do you guys think is the weaker of the three title holders? Some days I switch it up, but I really don't know, man. I really can't answer. I guess I'll know more about this as these fights get underway. Because I guess right now, whichever one of these guys is your favorite, you'll just pick that guy. They're all undefeated, so you can't say, well, that guy lost. They all haven't lost yet. You know what I mean? Some people may say, well, Parker hasn't dominated. He hasn't dominated everybody, and if he didn't dominate them, he didn't knock them out. Like Wilder, in my opinion, didn't dominate Spilka, but he got the knockout. Whereas Parker went the distance with Ruiz Jr. and Takam, and some people thought he lost those fights. A lot of people thought some of those fights were draws, but he did get the decision. He did get the victory. But I never seen him hurt or wobbled, even in those close type of fights. Whereas I've seen Wilder eye puffed up, busted up, hurt, even though he got knockout wins. Seen him get out boxing some rounds. You know what I mean? AJ, like I said, seems as if he's, pretty much been in control of all his fights. And Parker, going on his 5th year as a pro. Josh will be going, going on his 4th or 5th year as a pro. I believe towards the end of the year, it'd be like, his 4th year? Yeah, I think it'd be his 4th year at the end of the year or something. So, Wilder, he's going on his 9th year. So Parker and AJ have definitely been brought along a lot faster than Deontay Wilder. And Wilder was not taking on the type of fights that Joshua and Parker were taking on when they were, what is AJ, 18-0. So when these guys were between 17 and 21-0, Wilder was not taking these type of fights. He just really started taking these type of fights when he was past 30-0. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. You guys let me know what you think in the comments section. I'm out.